My perspective is that you have to first look at, do you have a detailed change process that's well documented so that people understand how it works? 2, do you have buy-in from the management team that they're going to follow that process? And that may mean that a change you desperately want isn't going to go in when you want it to go in because you didn't follow that process. And 3, you have to make sure that the individual line level people fully understand what they're doing and that they own responsibility for ensuring the change is done correctly. You have those 3 things, then suddenly the whole world changes. You go from having 50% success on changes to 90% success on changes. We were making a series of changes to an environment for a customer. It was a major implementation. There were a lot of critical pieces moving, and a VP of the organization had been put in sort of executive leadership over that particular project. My resources were on this project. I own change management, but I also own some of the people that made the changes, the database administrators. There was a change requested that bypassed the process completely, and they said, I can't. And they came to me and said, you know, your person's holding this up. And I said, no, they're doing the process exactly the right way. Let's take 10 minutes and look at it and see what's going on. And we looked at that change, and in 10 minutes we figured out that that request was actually wrong. And had we executed it immediately without the proper review, we would have ended up taking the system down for several hours until we could have recovered. So when I look at the challenges associated with change management, a very common one is where your team is performing the way you expect them to and another team isn't, and there's conflict between your 2 teams. I remember a specific situation where my team was performing, following the rules, and successfully implementing changes at 88%. The other team was only operating at about 45%. I took those metrics and showed them to the management and said, if you implement these 3 simple changes and really hold your team accountable to those, you could see the same level of improvement that I'm seeing there. And that resonated with them, and they ended up making the changes, and it provided a better coordination between the 2 teams.